Welcome everybody. Welcome to Q&A Thursday. Fantastic to see you here, Toolkit Masters. It's great to be here myself. You know that Thursday is my favorite day of the week because I get to speak to you guys. So that's really, really exciting. We've got some great stuff to share with you today. We've got some, we had a great question come through the Q&A website, Q&A Thursday website. So if you ask at teamleadertoolkit.com, you can get onto that email and ask me any question you like. The question that came through this week was all about work-life balance. So obviously that resonates with a lot of people out there, especially this time of year. You know, you've got stock take, you've got all sorts of things happening. It's the middle of the year. Everyone's a little burnt out and tired. So how do we maintain and keep that work-life balance? So we're going to be discussing that today, so it's going to be fantastic. Before I carry on, though, I'd like to know if everyone can see and hear me. So if you can see and hear me, if you can just put yes or hi or something in the comments bar down the bottom right-hand side and just let me know that you can see and hear me. That would be fantastic. And then we can start. And I've got some really great examples to share with you today. So just let me know that you are there. I know there's some people on the line. I can see some people have joined us. All right. Hi, Leanne. Fantastic to see you here. Hi, Tony. How you going? All right. So we've got, everyone can see and hear me. So that's fantastic. We've got some more on the line. Feel free to comment or ask any questions at any time, and we will get onto them straight away. So great to see you here, guys. All right. So without further ado, let's start because I know you guys are all busy people, but this is going to be really, really important. It's all about how do you keep your work-life balance and get that right. And sometimes it's a big balancing act, isn't it? So let's have a look at what we've got here today. All right, so work-life balance. So really, really important to realise that you can have work-life balance for probably 85% of the time. For 15% of the time, it's either going to balance one way or the other more. So what I mean by that is there's either that you're going to be needed at home because there's, you know, you might have sick kids or a sick partner or, you know, you need to be home for whatever reason so that it'll balance the other way. Or some other times work needs you a lot more over a short period of time because they might have machines broken down or there's stock take or there's something really, really fundamental that needs to happen at work for that period of time. But again, it's a short period of time. So work-life balance is all about balancing and making sure it's not extended one way or the other and make you feel like you're not doing a great job in both camps. So let's have a think about and look at what we can do. Now, remember, if you've got any questions or any thoughts, please feel free to put them in the comments bar and we'll get onto them straight away. So it'd be great to hear how you guys handle your work-life balance. Now, before we start, I just wanted to give you some examples of some people that are actually doing it really, really well. So Mark Zuckerman, just for an example with his work-life balance, it's really, really important to him to take time off and be with family in times of need. So this is Priscilla, his wife. They've had 2 daughters, and each time that they've had children, he's taken 2 months off of being CEO of Facebook, obviously, taken 2 months off to be with his family. So to be with his wife and his newborn daughters, he was able to take a couple of months off, leave work at work and make sure that that was something that he prioritised in that really, really important time of both of their lives. So that's just an example of how some people do it. This is another example. I don't know if you know this person. She is Sheryl Sandberg. So she used to work for Google before she became the COO of Facebook. And she has been interviewed and said that she will ensure that she leaves the office at 5:30 p.m. every evening to ensure that she's having dinner with her kids by 6 p.m. So that is a priority for her. So she makes sure she does that. If she has to do some work after hours, then she will consider doing it. But ultimately, her priority is to get home and make sure she has dinner with the children at 6 p.m. every night. So that's a COO of Facebook as well. So, and she used to work for Google. She used to work for Google before that. Another person that I wanted to share with you that some might be familiar with, this is Reed Hastings. He's the Netflix CEO. Now, Netflix is a bit different over there, so they have unlimited vacation days, but he sets the example to his people by taking a 6-week holiday every year, and he makes that a policy because he wants other people to take example of that, because he said that it's, you often get your best thinking when you're hiking up a mountain, or, totally at peace with the world, or, not listening to all that white noise that happens in the workplace a lot. So, he says that you get a different perspective of things, and it's really, really important to renew, regenerate, and have those breaks away. So, so that's another one that's making a really good example about making sure you've got that work-life balance. And what about our friend Richard Branson here? So he knows that he's got unlimited vacation days too for Virgin. I don't think it's for all the employees, but for, I'm not sure who has, but he says that he has unlimited vacation days. But he says it's also hard. It's great to go on a holiday, but it's really hard to absolutely totally disconnect yourself with the workplace. So what they've done here is they've said, leave your mobile phone at home. Make sure that you don't talk to anybody or talk to work. If you're taking a vacation, you make sure you take that vacation. So that's been really good for Richard Branson, and he does actually make sure that his employees do that. Another one here is Oprah Winfrey. So she manages to meditate at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. She finds that really clears her mind, makes her feel like that she is making a difference with regards to her energy levels and being able to problem solve and all those sorts of things. So, so really, really important for her that she meditates at least once a day. Sometimes, as I say, she does it twice. So that's another thing that somebody in the famous world does. This is Weebly's, that website platform Weebly. This is Weebly's CFO, Kim Label. And she, again, is another one that only will work from 9 till 5. So whenever possible, she will start at 9 a.m. so that she's got a chance to have breakfast with her children and sets them off to school. And then she comes home by 5 so she can be having dinner with her children by 6 p.m. So obviously, that's at 85% of the time. Remember, there's that 80 to 85% rule that you can get that balance right. And then sometimes it's going to sway one way more than the other because of, those last minute things or something that's happened or what have you. So just really, really important to remember that for the majority of the time, you need to try and get this right and do what's right for you. All right. So let's have a think about what we can do as leaders with regards to work-life balance. And I've got some interesting bits and pieces here that I want to share with you. And I think it's really, really important, where we go from this. Okay. Doesn't look like I'm going to the next slide on my thing. Through them with you like this is working. I don't know why. Okay, so the first one that I want to do, and let's get you back because that's not working. So let's stop the slide presentation. Okay, all right, so let's do it from my notes here. So the first thing I want to do is the work-life balance thinking, so that positive thinking. So making sure that that the people that are working for you are balancing their work commitments. So you're setting the example with their family and personal lives and all those sorts of things. And being positive about making changes to ensure that balance is happening. Modeling best practice. If you can model best practice of having really good work-life balance, then that does, leaps and bounds for the people that are on your team to ensure that they're doing the same thing. So making sure that you have really positive work-life balance thinking. And if you're not in that positive mindset at the moment, then really work on that first before that you can set that example. Okay, really make that a life quest for you to make sure that you can get that work-life balance right. And it's, what it looks like is different for everybody. So some people it might be, I used to know who would make it their mission that as soon as they came into work, half an hour early or whatever, in their running gear, they would go out, go for a walk or a run or whatever they did, and they did that every morning because that to them gave them the energy, gave them the stuff that they needed to have a really great positive outlook on the day. Some people make sure they leave at a particular time so they can spend that family time with their children before they go to bed. Some people, it might be making sure that you can exercise in the middle of the day to keep your energy levels up. For some people, it might be making sure that you have your leave and make sure you take holidays and get those breaks that you need. If you've got a team of people that are, accumulating days and hours of annual leave, then how are they getting a work-life balance? So we really need to consider encouraging them to take those breaks, take those holidays, take those vacations, and absolutely go out there and renew and regenerate. And the way that we can do that is by making sure that we're doing it ourselves. If you are trying to hold on to certain days because you might have a wedding coming up, or you might have a big family reunion coming up or something, well, that's okay. And it's okay to verbalize that and say, do you know what, I'm not going to take too much leave this year because at the end of the year, I've got this big event happening and I'm actually going to take 4 or 5 weeks off then. So really, really important to sort of get that out front so you know. And if not, taking those smaller breaks during the year really makes a difference, and you have to disconnect completely. So the first one is that positive life balance thinking and making sure you're setting an example for your team. The second one is have a look in the workplace and see if they've got a work-life balance policy. Some companies have a really clear policy and a statement of work-life balance and how they're committed, and it could look like they might have, shared work. They might have flexible hours, flexible working places, all sorts of carers leave, parental leave, all sorts of things. So have a look at what policies are there that can really help with the work-life balance for you and your team. So that's the second one. The third one, make sure that your work-life balance company that you work for actually do encourage this sort of thing. So, making sure that, making sure that there's suitable childcare arrangements in the nearby area. That makes a difference. Making sure there's flexible working options if they can. Making sure that we can incorporate, incorporate things into the workplace. Like, some people have fruit come twice a week or something so people can eat really healthily, or some people have open gyms in the workplace so people can work out and all those sorts of things. So have a chat to your workplace environment and your bosses and see if there is anything that you can introduce to make it sort of a work-life balance whole company versus just you fighting for it, okay? Number 4, be aware of your entitlements. So there's certain entitlements that are federally run. So, do you have access to flexible working arrangements? What assistance do you have with regards to, leave and holidays and long service leave and all those sorts of things? So just make sure that you're really aware of the entitlements for not only you, but your team members as well, because each state has slightly different sort of long service leave entitlements. Each country, it's certainly different. So it's just something to be aware of. Number 5, I think a really good thing to do here would be survey your people. So conduct a survey to identify what the staff needs in balancing work-life balance. So what does work-life balance mean to them? And what is really, really important with regards to work-life balance? Because I think that's something that sometimes is a miss. So, companies will start all these things and actually that doesn't help the staff because they're actually looking for something else to help them. So they don't particularly want a gym in the office, but they'd like flexible working hours, or they're not worried too much about childcare because that's all sorted, but they might need, access to, healthy food or whatever it may be. So just have a survey to really determine what your people need. And that could be something that you download off Google and then just plagiarize it, leverage from it, I should say, it's a nicer word, leverage from it and create your own and see what work-life balance means to them. Number 6, implement flexible work practices. So this means, can you do flexible working hours? Can you look at the rosters? Can you look at your leave arrangements? Can you, accommodate personal and family responsibilities that people might have without detriment or penalty? So So do people feel safe that they can put their leave app in and they'll get the leave? Or do people feel safe enough to say, hey, listen, my kids are sick, I need to stay home, but I'm happy to work on this particular project from home? Do we have the accessibility to do that? And if we don't, is there some options that we can do to enable that to happen? So these are just some things that maybe that you want to take on board. Number 7, have a willingness to trial or pilot some initiatives that might come from the surveys that you put out. So people might have some great ideas, and you know, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money or you know, be overly complex. So have a look at what comes back in your survey and be willing to have a little bit of a crack at some of those initiatives. You know, that shows your commitment to really want to have those flexible working arrangements to enable work-life balance if you're willing to give them a crack. And obviously, you know, this is something that you'll need to do in conjunction with your HR manager and your boss at work and all those sorts of things. But I think it's really, really important that you give it a crack. So number 8, I was running out of fingers. Number 8, accountability. So this is all about accountability for you. We need to make sure that we look in the mirror and that we are accountable for the way that we react. So if you know, if somebody's put their leave app in your, you know, really, really busy time, how do we react to that? If somebody is rung up sick because, you know, whether they're sick or they're taking a carer's day because one of their kids is sick, how do we react to that? You know, is it a reaction that will allow people to feel like they have a work-life balance? So we need to have a think about how do we react in those sort of circumstances. I know it can sometimes make our jobs that little bit harder because we have to find new people to come in or whatever it may be. But really, is that the fault of the person ringing up? Sometimes it's not. So we have to just have a look in the mirror sometimes and determine, is there something we can do differently to ensure that work-life balance is something that people still want to achieve and think it's achievable. Also training. So there's training and development that you can do too, all about this sort of stuff. So you can, you know, go and talk to your HR person, see what's out there with regards to work-life balance, flexible working conditions, all those sorts of things. You can educate yourself by Googling it because there's heaps of stuff on there at the moment. It's really quite topical. And how you can then manage your flexible workforce. So how can you, you know, what can you implement and what's going to make a difference for you? So train yourself up, educate yourself, go and find out from your HR manager what's available out there. And if there isn't enough, then have a look external to your company. What are other companies that are similar to yours doing really, really successfully? And how can you bring that into your world? The other thing is pre-exit interview. So this is really, really important because it lets you know why people are leaving. So is it a work-life balance issue? Is it something that, you know, they possibly cannot get that balance right because of the, you know, the workplace is just too demanding and is not allowing them to spend the important family time? You know, any data that you can collect in those pre-exit interviews are going to be really, really important in determining where in the company or in your particular area things are working really well and where do we need to focus some efforts and do some problem solving. So I think that's really, really important for you to collect that data, because when people are walking out the door or already put their resignation in, as long as they're not too bitter and twisted, they're quite honest. They've got nothing to lose now. So they'll say, do you know what? I'm leaving because of A, B, C, and D, and someone offered me with some more money, so I'm out of the door. But at least you can gather that information and go, okay, so this is a bugbear for people, but this is working really well. This is where we need to focus our efforts, have some brainstorming and do some problem solving. And that will really help you with your work-life balance sort of policies and initiatives that you bring in. All right. So if we can make a difference with people's work-life balance, you will retain good people. So you won't have this forever, you know, staff turnover going on and on and on, you will be able to retain really good people. You will start to attract really good people that want to work in your area because they know that people are happier in there and they've got that balance right. So if you want to attract and retain really skilled employees and team members, then this is something that you need to focus on for a little while and really make sure that you make a difference with. You might have other teams in your area or other departments that are doing things like little snippets really, really well. Take a snippet from that department and a snippet from that department and have a look at what they're doing over there. What are they doing in marketing, sales, you know, all that sort of stuff to be able to do this. It can be volunteer days once a year. It can be team building activities. It can be making sure that you've got that flexibility in the workplace. It could be, you know, bring in fruit once a week, whatever it may be. There's some little things that you can do to really make a difference with your work-life balance and your teams today. So I wish you all the best. Hopefully it's worked. If you need to convince your bosses that some of these things may cost money, but they're worth it in the end, tell them this. There is a true statistic that says that it costs between $20,000 and $50,000 per employee when you lose them and you have to recruit a new one. So if you have the option to do a few initiatives that cost $1,000 here or a couple of grand there or whatever, and that increases your retention of your good people, then surely the return on investment is going to be a good one. Yeah. Okay. So let's put it down to dollars and cents if you're finding it hard to move or shift some mindsets with the people with the purse strings. So as I said, it costs between 20 and 50 grand to per employee to replace the skill level that past employee would have had. So not only do you have to go through the whole recruitment process, the whole training process, and get them to a level that person left, cost about between 20 and 50 grand. So let's use that statistic and make sure that we can try and build up our talent pipeline by making people really happy, wanting to stay, moving up your career trajectory, say that word in a hurry, moving up the career stream and being able to not having that high staff turnover, which is actually going to save you money. Okay. All right. So that's it from me. Do you have any questions for me? Have you got any thoughts, queries, things that you want to share with me with regards to work-life balance? Okay. Yep. Still got 8, 9. Still got a few on the line. So what have you got with regards to work-life balance? Anything that you would like to share with me? Oh, maybe I need to put on my chat so I can see. There you are. Okay. All good, Tony? All right. All right. Excellent. So just reiterating really, really quickly, if you've got any questions for me, please ask at teamleadertoolkit.com. Alternatively, you can get on the Facebook page, ask anything up there, and we will answer pretty much straight away. I think we've got a 2-hour turnaround on Facebook and a 24-hour turnaround on the email. It's actually it's averaging around between 2 to 4 hours, but we say 24 just in case we're all at a meeting or whatever. So if you've got anything for us, don't hesitate to let me know. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. We've got a really interesting Q&A Thursday coming up next week, so don't miss that one. But until then, I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye for now.